Welcome into the Fan Shark Focus. I'm Ethan Skolnick. We've got our guy in Memphis, Anthony Sane from Sports 56 and 98.5. Let's start with a conversation about the Memphis Grizzlies. They're resilient. Ja Morant came back a little bit earlier than expected. Great performance the other night against Atlanta. He's playing at a very high level. They're getting production from Kyle Anderson and everyone else. But just speak to a little bit, if you can, Anthony, kind of the effect that Ja's return has had on this team.
Well, we mentioned last time we talked that it looks like Ja may be ahead of schedule, and that you've seen him on the sideline. He's amped, he's animated, and he's definitely brought in a surge of energy to this team. Ja is one of the better point guards probably in the NBA already, reigning Rookie of the Year. And he's came in and just made an instant impact with the team. He's been high energy. Teams have to scheme against him. Just the fact that he's on the court. And he's looked a little, he hasn't looked totally like the same Ja Morant that we saw last season, but you can definitely see those glimpses of what made him be the Rookie of the Year that he was last year. In yesterday's game, for instance, against the Suns, he made a crucial play, circus layup at the end of the game. Then came down, he drew a charge and also found Grayson Allen for a corner three to pretty much put the game away. And Ja is just showing just the electricity that he provides on the court on a night in, night out basis, and he's making teams have to adjust to him. And he's the type of guy where when the Grizzlies need a basket, he's the guy that can end those scoring droughts for the team. And he's been remarkable in these last two games since he's been back.
Before we get to the rest of the team, Anthony, a little bit more on Ja. I think people around the country, one of the things they admire, obviously, his athletic ability, his toughness, and everything else that comes with it, his leadership. But they worry a little bit about what the injuries are going to be like in the future if he doesn't learn how to land. Just watching him from afar again, it looks scary a lot. Have they talked to him at all about that? Because I know he wants to posterize everybody, but sometimes, I know from covering Dwayne Wade, he learned it over the years, sometimes it's not the best decision.
Well, with Ja Morant, that taking that element of his game away kind of stops Ja Morant from being Ja Morant. He's one of those guys who attacks the basket. He likes to highlight play. He tried to jump over Kevin Love's head last year. You guys remember that, of course. And he gets kind of irritated when people talk to him about it because he's one of those type of guys, like I said, that's what makes him who he is. And I don't think he has any plans to really change his game. He's one of those, he's just an explosive guy who gets to the rim, and he uses his athleticism to do so. I'm sure that the team has talked to him about it. I know that the guys have joked about it in the locker room and in a virtual locker room nowadays, but Ja gets pretty irritated when you talk to him about it. He realizes that he has to protect himself and that his body is his number one investment. So you kind of see him turning things down a little bit for the most part. Ja realizes that he has to keep that as part of his game in order to be the Ja Morant that we've grown to know and love here.
Yeah, I remember from covering Dwayne, he didn't like talking about it earlier in his career, and later in his career, he's like, I should have saved those knees.
Maybe I should have listened. Yeah,
maybe I should have listened. He might have played a little bit longer, although Dwayne certainly played long enough. All right, I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit, Anthony. Who is the second most, obviously we're still waiting on Jaren Jackson Jr., who is the second most important player on this team right now? Like if we were to say, what you're going to get from Morant, if you get this from this guy, this team can compete for a playoff spot again, at least, until, again, they get Jaren Jackson back. Who's that guy?
I'm not going to say it's particularly a certain guy, but I will say it's a particular position. It's the wing position. And for the Memphis Grizzlies, they need scoring from that position. There's a stat going around that we talked about last week where Dillon Brooks, every time he scores 20 points, the Grizzlies are undefeated this season. And over the last couple of years, they have a drastically better record when he scores 20 points a game. I don't think Dillon Brooks is a level of player that you really can depend on to be that level of player at all time. But the fact that whenever someone in that position does score that amount of points, the Grizzlies do have a winning record, and they have a very good record, as a matter of fact. The Grizzlies just have to find scoring from the perimeter. Teams are strategizing to get the ball out of Ja's hands. And you saw even in the game yesterday, they took Ja off the ball in the fourth quarter for a lot of the time because teams are game planning to stop him. So that second ball handler, that wing scorer, is definitely an important position, whether it be Dillon Brooks, whether it be Grayson Allen, Desmond Bane, whoever that guy may be, someone in that position on the court has to be big for the Grizzlies.
Talking to Anthony Sane here. Last one for you. We saw Portland is going through some injuries right now. CJ McCollum's going to be out for a while with a broken foot. It seems like they've always got injuries. Nurkic, somebody else. Obviously, Phoenix is playing at a higher level than last year, but let me put this to you. Would it be a disappointment if the Grizzlies don't make the playoffs this year? Because they were this close, obviously, last year. The bubble kind of changed things. Would it be a disappointment if they don't at least grab the 8th seed?
It's a hard question, as always, to talk about the Grizzlies. I remember last year, I was one of the main people who were saying that this team is, in a rebuild, and if they make it to the playoffs, they do. If they don't, it's not that big of a deal. But man, once we got in the bubble and we were invited to come to Orlando, all bets are off, man. We were ready to get into the playoffs, and we could taste it, we could feel it, and it slipped out of our hands there towards the end. Me personally, right now, today, and in January of 2021. I'm going to say that the fan base really won't mind that much because they're still a team that's literally in the second year of their rebuild since Zach Kleiman and the company took over this front office. So if they make the playoffs, it'll be great. If they don't, you get a little bit better draft pick, possibly a chance to get into the upper lottery. But I'm not going to lie to you, man. Just to see the team overachieving and get a big win on Martin Luther King Day like they did, I think that this city wants to see a playoff team. And me personally, I probably feel away as well if the Grizzlies didn't make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, get caught up in a little bit. That's Anthony saying Sports 56, 98.5 on the Fan Sharp Focus.